Hi, everyone. This is the Bold African Show, and I'm your host, Fahad. And today I have very special guests, four gentlemen that co-founded KWG SoftWorks, software development agency that helps companies in America uh, access African talent to build their software. We're going to be talking about what they do, and how the company came to be. And without further ado, let me welcome my guests. We'll start with Stephen. Can you introduce yourself? And then Anthony can go next, Ayoub and Ibrahim.
Yeah, sure thing. So my name is Steven. I was actually born in Kenya and then moved to the States when I was right around 8 years old. I've gone back a few times and currently in the Boston area, and I handle most of the business development and also client relationships at KWG.
Awesome.
And my name is Anthony. I met these three gentlemen in Lowell, Massachusetts when I moved there with my family when I was around like 14 or 15 years old. I've known these guys for a while now. And, I handle most of the content creation, handle like marketing for clients and things like that.
Awesome. Ayoub, you're muted. You want to unmute yourself?
Awesome. My apologies. My name is Ayoub. I'm in charge of most of the technical development at KWG. I myself, born in the U.S., but the younger brother of Ibraheem over here. Our father is from Sierra Leone in Lebanon. Our mother is Grenadian. And I'll let Ibraheem talk.
Yes. Hello, all. My name is Ibraheem Khadar. I'm Ayoub's brother and friend of Stephen and Anthony, one of the co-founders of KWG SoftWorks. I mostly handle a lot of the project management and some of the business operations, a little bit of the business development along with Stephen. And I like to think I'm kind of the business intent guy. So I like to understand our our clients' business intent and work with them to solve their business problems.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction. And yeah, I'm glad to chat with you today about your work at KWG SoftWorks. And I think can you tell us how it came to be? Like, what prompted you to start KWG SoftWorks?
Sure, I could take that one. So how KWG came to be, I'd say there were, three big factors in the genesis of our agency. The first of which is, I spent some time about 3 years ago. I made my first trip out to West Africa. I had visited a few places. I had visited, first was Morocco, then was Ghana. I spent some time in Accra. I also went to Sao Tome. I went to Nigeria, I went to Guinea, and I went to my father's home country of Sierra Leone. In all those places, me being a technologist, having had experience at, various startups and established companies, I saw that there were a good deal of software development and just overall tech talent out there that was just not being leveraged. And then in coming back after that first trip, I went to a wedding of a mentor of mine. And at that wedding, I met a young gentleman who also works in technology, who also runs an agency. And this is, an African-American gentleman who is a partner at a agency who outsources their work to Uruguay. So in learning more about what he does at that agency, I said to him, we could definitely do the same. Between the talent that I have in my own personal network. So, between Stephen and his gifts in terms of business development and finance and just overall business administration, my brother Ayoub, who is a beast of a software developer and engineer, and then of course Anthony, who since the time we were younger, he's always had a keen interest in content creation, animation, videography, graphic design, just a jack of all trades in that respect. I figured, hey, we can combine all these talents. We could definitely add value to our clients, and we can leverage software engineers, product designers, QA analysts, and technologists in Africa, and be able to use their talents to help American businesses and just businesses globally, and then two, be able to provide some opportunities for the unused talent over in the continent.
Awesome. Does anyone want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in a little bit, but yeah, just kind of harping what Ibraheem said. There was a lot of things that went into kind of the creation of KWG and make sure we have the right talent, and also we all have African roots, as you can tell in from our stories as well, and it's always been a mission for us to give back to the places that we kind of originally came from. And also, providing jobs and making sure that they get enough opportunity because there's such a lot of talent out there in Africa, but just the opportunity may not level up to the amount of talent. So we're just trying to help out in that department and have a lot of fun along the way. So I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So now there's talent in Africa that is hungry, that are ready to work, but they don't have access to those opportunities. So how did you go about finding clients that you can work with, and how was that journey?
Yeah, I mean, I could take that and then let somebody piggyback off. So the first client that we got on paper was through Upwork. So Upwork is a great website for freelancers and people looking to hire freelancers. So that was the first one that we utilized. She actually didn't fully know our story until later on. So she was actually surprised that the work was done from Africa with African talent, but at the same time she didn't care. Because we got the job, we did the job correctly, on time, we communicated, so well processed kind of machine there. So that was the first client, and the rest of the clients have been through referrals, because Anthony knows a lot of great people in the area and also does the Khadar brothers as well. So when you do great work, people do reach out to you.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah. And then in terms of the talent itself, we've been able to Twitter. Twitter was, I think, a hotbed of. We found a lot of talent via Twitter on the continent, namely a good deal of folks in Nigeria and Ghana, a lot of and then a few folks in Cameroon, Kenya, and I think we've also been able to represent for Sierra Leone. We have a developer from Sierra Leone as well. And Twitter and LinkedIn, and guys, let me know if I'm forgetting anything here. But I feel as though those have been huge platforms that have enabled us to find talent.
Awesome. All right, and for the clients that come to you, like what are they looking for in software engineers that they can find? I guess, like, what is your value proposition? There's already talent in America, in Russia, India, right? Like, what is your value that you're delivering to your clients that they can have in America?
Sure. I mean, I could certainly take that. So, the value we're providing for people in regards to working with us, number one, they get the management front, I'm saying, with myself, Anthony, Ayoub, and Ibraheem. So they get that U.S. front, so we have all different, backgrounds, and also we do it very professionally. And also in addition to that, they get absolutely great talent that is underutilized in Africa. Right. So because it's underutilized and it's not known, we'll be able to, adjust our prices and making sure that client gets the most value at the best prices. Because right now, software development, as you can tell, it's in demand. So when it's a lot of demand out there and very little supply, the cost can go up. So we're trying to make sure that we're meeting that expectation where we're providing extreme value at the best price that these companies can afford.
Yeah. Anyone else want to add to that? Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you. There's so much, a lot of talent in Africa that is not utilized, and also there's so many companies in America, right?
Mhm.
That need to tap into that talent, right? There are companies like Andela, right? That does the same thing, right? But still, there is like huge demand. You can never, tap into all the software engineers that exist on the African continent. We need more agencies like yours that actually connect the businesses to the pool of talent that we have available in Africa. So, in terms of actually getting the talent on board, what are the challenges do you face? You're all based in America. The talent is in Africa. There's differences in time zones and all that, but also like how do you get them to kind of like perform at the level that your clients expect?
Yeah, I could take this one. So it's really lots of early mornings and
Yeah,
lots of late nights of prep. So we go through a pretty rigorous interview process with our developers. We make sure we're getting the right fit when we bring someone onto the team, whether it's a developer, a designer, project manager, whatever it may be. We go through multiple processes of an interview and multiple processes of adding them and bringing them onto the team. So we might bring a designer or a developer onto a few different starter projects that aren't for clients just to see how they're doing, see how they're adjusting, do something like that before we may bring them onto our actual client, something of that aspect. So we take our time in choosing the people that we select and make sure we get the right fit for the team.
yeah, awesome. Anthony, you want to
And
add anything?
kind of adding on to what Ayoub said. The process is kind of very lengthy process going through the different talent acquisitions that we can find. We kind of have a spreadsheet for what we need, what type of developer we're looking for, what type of designer we're looking for, and we're trying to like fill each different category with multiple people. So once the projects keep coming along, we'll always have
Yeah,
somebody to fill that role
awesome.
for us.
Yeah, so in terms of growth, right? So since you started, how long ago did you start?
I
And
think
then I'll.
a year and some change ago.
Yeah.
We first I think we had our first meeting. I want to say last June, and the idea probably came last May.
Yeah. So how is the growth going? Like, have you seen a lot of growth from, the COVID? Now that there's COVID, a lot of companies need like remote workers and stuff. Have you seen like any increase in like demand for software developers who can work remotely?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak to growth in different sector that we kind of track. So like the growth in clients, that definitely actually, let me back up. Starting a business during COVID, number one, could be a little intimidating, but the way we handled it is, number one, I mean, if you can one, sustain and also grow during COVID, I think you could run a business at any time throughout the world, or throughout any timeline, to be honest. And number two, in regards to growth and in regards to clients, at first we wanted to get our first client and make sure we provided the most value. And once we understood that we can certainly provide value, we're able to actually get an article on the Boston Globe, and I think that propelled us to get a lot of clients that were reaching out to us in regards to the story that they've seen. And then number two, in regards to growth, because we were bringing on so many developers and they were going through our pipeline and understanding our process, we've asked if they knew other developers. And because it was having such, number one, getting jobs through us, and number two, having such a great interaction with, as you can tell, we're very young men here, so it's not a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
There was a lot of growth and demand for actual developers that want to work with us. with that being said, we have a lot in our pipeline right now. So in regards to growth, it's going well both on the client side because of the article and also on the developer side because they're finding jobs, and also we provide a culture that is, fun, young, and energetic.
Yeah. How do you manage like doing multiple things? So a lot of you, I know Ayoub, and you have like a full-time job, and then you also doing stuff for KWG. How do you like manage your time? Like, how do you make sure that you're efficient? Handling both sides, your jobs you do, and the company work.
Yeah, I mean, I could certainly speak to my end and then turn it over to Ayoub and the rest. But the way I handle it is trying to make sure a lot of the things that I do are vertically integrated. So as you can tell, working with KWG, that's a startup, mentoring people in regards to startups or putting out content about startups, that's also vertically integrated. And also in regards to using my talents that I've learned through school and also at work in regards to finances and kind of helping in that division for the financing for both KWG and any client that is looking to get, balance sheets looked at or any P&Ls or anything of that nature. So that's number one, making sure you're vertically integrated, because if you want to use your talents in a very seamless way. And then number two, utilizing all the tools out there, the Google Calendars, the Slacks, and that's kind of how I do it. And I'll let the other boys, speak on their behalf.
Yeah, so I think it's really, we run our business the same, in our time management the same way that we work with our clients, in that we really work heavily with properly delegating our tasks and being most efficient as we can with our processes. So we might know that, so if our developers are in Africa and our clients are in America, that there's a very small time window that we can get stuff done. And so if something's better for one of us more than the other, we're very good at splitting up and making sure that we're getting the correct people talking to the clients at the right time, and the correct people talking to developers and our managers, and doing it that way to make sure that we are properly delegating and streamlining our pipeline to make it as efficiently run as possible.
Awesome. Ibrahim, you want to go next?
Sure. So, for me, it's long days.
Yeah.
Very long days. Waking up extremely early, as I'm sure these guys can attest to, and going to sleep pretty late at night. And just making sure and balancing everything. This is something, I'm always working on 1,000 different things simultaneously. And it's just a matter of, for me, I'm a product manager by trade. So it's always a matter of just managing priorities and getting, in a given calendar day, you can only get so many things done, right? So just having priorities. Hey, what are the things I want to get done today, and making sure that I tackle them. I'm a big to-do list guy. I'll, if I have X amount of things to do for KWG, get them done. If I have X amount of things to do for my day job or anything else that I'm working on, get those things done. And then, two things to take note of is, one, there's 4 of us, right? So, it's not, we don't all have to put the burden on our shoulders. We can distribute the wealth of work that there is to do to make sure that we're getting things done efficiently and on time. And then, secondly, is that we have a good team. We have a strong team of project managers, product designers, of software developers. If we're putting the brunt of the load on our shoulders, we're not doing a good job. As far as managing clients and getting work and, certain tasks that we may have to do ourselves, we'll roll up our sleeves and do them. But, ideally, we leverage our team to get a lot of things done so that there's an equal distribution of work.
Awesome.
And to piggyback on what everyone has basically said, for my full-time job, a lot of it kind of crosses over with what I do for KWG. So, as I'm creating content for different clients, whether that be video production or animation or things like that, logo designing, some of our clients also need the same things. So the same skill sets can be applied to both jobs at the same time.
And you all get to work remotely, or you going to? Oh, Anthony probably has a studio or something.
Yeah,
And,
so I'm actually based in Austin, Texas right
oh,
now. I just moved from Lowell, from Boston. I was living in Boston for a little while, where Steven was, and I just moved to Austin, Texas
oh,
last
okay,
year. But with what I do, it's kind of nice because I do a lot of the computer work, so I can kind of just do that from anywhere with
yeah,
internet connection.
that's awesome. Yeah, so in terms of financing your business, did you have to raise money or not yet? You bootstrapped.
So we bootstrapped.
Okay, so you pretty much need time and your skills, right? The skills that you already have. Um,
Yeah, because and I'll toot Ibraheem's horn on here. He might downplay it, but he's fantastic at project management and documentation.
yeah,
So he ended up actually documenting every little thing that we had to think about, talk about before we even got started. So it was very well laid out. So in regards to execution, we're able to execute very, very lean, very fast, and get this off the ground where we'll be able to bring on a client to be able to pay our developers and kind of sustain that. So, we're able to get in the black and be positive in very short time. So we're looking to stay in the black for a very long time, make sure we're able to provide jobs to our developers, they provide them money so they can recirculate that in their communities, which is only going to help their communities. And also at the same time, make sure we're a viable business that, hopefully we could be doing this for a very, very long time.
yeah,
And piggyback off of that, one thing I definitely like to include in that, and I think this has helped us in our business, is that we all come from humble beginnings. We don't come from rich families or anything like that. We're, that's our bread and butter. We all grew up in the same neighborhood. Anthony's house was kind of like my second home as a teenager. I've worked for other startups in the past. All of them have been started by folks who grew up with money. And I've been in the double digits in terms of the hiring order at these startups. I've been employee number 15. I've been employee number 50, and I've seen how, I'll be frank, how reckless some of these companies are with money. Granted, they have a lot of money coming in, so it's not that big of a deal. But for us, we never want to operate from a place of debt. We're always thinking, okay, we want to make sure that we have money before we go about spending it. And then another thing that we leverage is, Anthony, we've been leveraging a lot of his expertise. He's already started an agency. Something that's going very, very well for himself. I always take off my hat to him because, a couple of years ago, I remember he approached me and our friends, and he said, "Hey, I'm quitting my job and I'm starting my own agency," and he's been doing this for quite some time. So we grab a lot of notes from him as to, one, how we go about these processes, and two, how we how we are efficient with our dollars. Each and every single cent matters.
Yeah. All right, Stephen. I know you have connections in like the finance space, and you have connections with banks and stuff. You didn't think about raising money when you were starting this?
No. I mean, definitely think of raising money is it's well known in the industry, and it's well publicized and romanticized in a way. But in regards to where we are as a business, we want to make sure that the process are done correctly, right? So we're able to provide value before we go raise. And I think when you're thinking about a place in Africa where it's never really recognized on a technical level, any work that we do and any work that is publicized out there, we want to make sure that it's done correctly, because you only get one chance, right? So before we go raise that money, we want to make sure our processes are great, our developers are trained, and they're running very smoothly. And then after that, down the line, maybe, but right now it's just making sure we provide the best value, it's streamlined, and we give every client, the best possibilities. And, down the line, if people want to give us money, we're not going to turn it down, but definitely think about it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, so I was saying that because Andela raised like 24 million to kick off their venture, and I guess it has helped them scale, like build bigger team, and also give more people opportunities.
Hmm.
Uh, but I understand, like when you're just starting out, if you don't need it, you don't even know. You're just trying something, and you're building processes and building systems. You're training people. It's not always the right time to raise money. Before you build something. Um, all right. So, do you have like specific countries where you source your engineering and designers, or you pretty much put a job post out there? Do you have like specific countries where you're focusing, or not?
So I could probably take this one. So a good deal of our developers and designers and our team essentially are in Nigeria, and then also Kenya and also Ghana. I think those are the three kind of big hub for us. They're all English speaking countries. They all have pretty sophisticated um, technology and technologists. And another thing that we should mention is kind of how we differ from, say, like the Andelas and those folks of the world. I think they're doing a bang up job in ensuring that, you know, uh, ensuring that different technologists, whether they be developers, designers, what have you, that they're getting full time opportunities with different companies out there. We differ in a little bit of a sense in that we're an agency. So, clients come to us to get work done, and we are providing kind of freelance opportunities. We're leveraging more of the gig economy to make sure that folks get these jobs done. There are a lot of opportunities in Africa for Africans. We don't want to sit here and make it out to be that there's not companies that are really doing their thing out there. There's the Flutter Waves of the world. There's the Andelas of the world. There's so many companies that are doing so many things. It's just it's a beautiful problem to have, that there are just more people who are proficient technologists than there are companies. But we would be remiss to not mention that there are companies out there that and there are so many. And Stephen could probably speak to this more than I can. There's so many innovation hubs. There's so many boot camps. You have the Jack from Twitter, the CEO of Twitter, CEO and founder of Twitter, who before COVID obviously took place, was planning on spending significant time in Africa to leverage the opportunities that are out there. It's just that there's so much of a wealth. There's a surplus that we can leverage.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. So yeah, I definitely wish you the best of luck, and as you build your team, keep following your journey. I guess so. You say that you visited Africa. I don't know about like the rest of your team. Like, how often do you visit, and what kind of changes do you see? Like, what do you see? Like, where do you see Africa going in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of growth?
I mean, I'll let that one Ibrahim answer that first, because he's visited a few more times than the rest of us, and then can certainly piggyback off that.
Yes. So what I'll say is I see more and more every single time I'm there, and especially from this younger generation. This younger generation of Africans, I think they're going to create waves in a big way in the time to come. And the generation after us, probably more of I use my little brother, it's my baby brother. He's probably more of his generation than ours. They're going to make some waves. I see so many TED Talks of folks in South Africa, folks in Nigeria, folks all over the continent coming together and making big waves and making big changes. Every year, there are more innovation hubs, technology hubs out there that are growing and growing and growing. Just last, I was in Ghana for the year of the return, and I saw so much investment take place in like such a short period of time. In a couple of weeks, I believe billions of dollars were added to the Ghanaian economy. There's more of the diaspora is coming together in the Caribbean, in the United States, and here in and in Africa. And every single time I go out there, I see more and more and more. And this young generation, I really see big things coming. Not even just not even just in technology, but in politics, socioeconomic factors, in law. There's so much to come, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I feel honored that we're able to participate in it, even if it's in a small way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And to piggyback off that, I mean, there's so much potential in Africa, and you really say Africa is very broad. I mean, we have 54 countries.
Yeah,
so you can really say it's broad. But the one thing that I want to point out, number one, by 2100, 40% of the world's population is going to be in Africa. Mm-hmm. Number two, Africa right now, the median age is 30 years old. Most countries is somewhere between 18 and 20, right? We have 442 hubs as of 2018 in Africa, some in Nigeria, some South Africa, and Kenya, and all these great places, right? So when you look at it from a standpoint, it's not one of those like, oh, they're just doing a social good. If you think it from an investment perspective, if 40% of the world's population is going to be in one continent, they're absolutely on the fast track of mobile adoption of any country, right? They have a very young workforce, and they're hungry to learn technology, right? So if you're thinking from an investment standpoint, it checks all the boxes. So if you're talking about tech, if you're talking about infrastructure, which is coming in waves, when you have a Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, a Jack Ma, Google coming in there, these are very, very smart people. And if they're going towards that area, certainly you don't want to take a blind eye. So that's why when we talk about Africa as a whole, a lot of people start thinking, healthcare and also like, oh, social good. No, you got to think it from an investment perspective, because if you think from an investment perspective, this continent is only going to get better. So yeah, that's kind of the ways we look at it as well.
I just want to piggyback off of one point that Stephen made. I think it is of extreme importance that it's people who look like us that are making those investments. Already we're seeing that this happened throughout time, right? And colonialism and all types of things. And I don't want to, take too much of a pivot here, but I think it's, because, other folks are looking to invest in Africa, maybe not for the good of Africans, but maybe for the good of themselves. It's important that it's Africans and people of the diaspora that are doing so. Obviously, Fahad, even in your show and in any other venues that, us as an organization are able to take part in, it's important that we spread that message that the investment that's taking place, it's by Africans and people of the diaspora.
Yeah, that is very key. You have the Chinese going there, you have like all these Western countries going to Africa, seeing those opportunities, why not us, right? And you're a very good example of, people who are not just sitting and, looking at like these other people, from foreign countries, from foreign, like other continents taking over Africa, but you're also doing something in the position you're in, right? You're not in Africa, but you're providing opportunities there. You're building teams there. You're paying, people, injecting money in those economies, right? So what advice would you give to people in the diaspora who have the resources and who have the education, but they can't go to Africa? Like, what advice would you give them? How would they go about contributing?
Sure. I can get started on that. One thing I would say from everybody who's, I guess out in different countries or not in Africa is we're in a technological world. We started by reaching out to people on Twitter and LinkedIn, right? So technology has connected us. If you say that, oh, I can't do something because it's, hundreds of miles away. No, that's just you, for lack of a better word, being lazy. Right. So you got to use technologies to your advantage. And number two, you could always get started small. As we've talked about in this show, we bootstrap, right? we laid out on paper what we want to do, and with very little dollars, we're able to be in the black. And number two, getting publications like the Boston Globe that want to feature us because we're doing such a great job, and also trying to portray that message that we're want to give back and we are going to give back. So if anybody wants to get started in Africa, number one, it's use the technology to advantage and just plan and take action, and you should be good to go.
And another thing jumping off that is, if specific to your question, Fahad, if folks have the resources, the education, and the money, it's a plane ride away. Here on the East Coast, they have direct flights. They have direct flights. New York and DC. Yeah. If you have the resources, the plane ride away. I think one thing that I've seen firsthand is that there are two types of organizations that try to make things happen in Africa. There's the folks that just try to throw money at the problem, and that never works. Without a whole operation behind it that speaks directly to the people. If you just go set up an office there and you're paying yourselves well and so forth, no change is going to happen. No positive progress is going to happen. You need to make connections with the folks over there. You need to have an impact on a community level where folks are tangibly seeing those efforts being made.
Yeah, thank you for that. Ayoub, I want to ask you a question about, not a question, but advice for like young developers in Africa, right? Like what can they do to improve their skills, to also improve the odds of getting, these gigs that can pay them well in from companies like these big companies that are looking for freelancer developers in Africa?
Yeah, there's so many resources online now to learn. There's so much to do. There's so much to get started if anyone is ever interested. There's so many tutorials, and there's so much information for someone to get really interested, if they are interested, to get really experienced in the software development space. And we live in a world where there's more companies looking for software developers than there are software developers. There are a massive amount of people graduating with computer science degrees, but there are more jobs opening up year over year than people that are getting those degrees. There's so much opportunity for people out there to connect and get jobs in the software development space. If they're looking in the right places, you can get started anywhere. If you're using any one of the freelancing websites, there's so much opportunity now, way more than there was a decade ago, to get started and get ramped up if you're interested in doing software development.
And then I want to piggyback off of that real quick. There's the Coursera's. There's the what are some of these other websites you have?
There's Udemy, Coursera, Skillshare, LinkedIn Learning, websites like that. YouTube, it's completely free. Like you could get completely start. Like it's been almost 12, 13 years now since I got interested in software engineering, and I literally just looked up how to create my own website on YouTube, and I was learning JavaScript at like 9, 10 years old. And there's so much more opportunity now in 2020 to learn those type of opportunities completely for free. And there's really so much out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So leverage the internet, like for developers who want to get really good, use the internet, use Udemy, Coursera. Even Harvard and MIT provide free courses on computer science and stuff, right? And then once you have these skills, you can compete on a global level. You're no longer just competing in Ghana or Nigeria. You're in a global marketplace where you can, bid on projects, right? Apply to huge companies. So great.
Yeah,
guys.
One big thing there is that now it's available for everyone, so everyone can also now come to the table, where when you're a developer, it doesn't matter if you're based in Africa, it doesn't matter if you're based in the US, if you have the skills, if you bring those skills to the table, there are companies out there looking for you, and there are companies that'll hire you. There is work out there for you, no matter where you're based.
Yeah. Okay. So have you thought about setting up like an office in like any of those countries where you source your talent, or you're just gonna keep it completely remote?
That is something that we're still thinking about. We're still obviously in the early phases of our business, and we need to have significant money in our pockets as a business in order to be able to enable that. But it is something that we've spoken about. I think just last week, Stephen and I were having that conversation. And we were speaking with some of the heads of Golden Palm Investments who operate out of Accra and Ghana. As to how they go about doing that, and I've also been in touch with there's a company called Iris, and they have operations in Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Ghana, and speaking with them about how they go about doing that same thing. I think that's something that is probably going to be a thing in the near to distant future, and especially as we take more trips out there. I'll be back in Ghana and Sierra Leone in December, as we understand more about how the infrastructure works and making that happen, I think that's something in the future. And, I see myself personally spending more time out in the continent. There's a nonprofit that I work on, a sports nonprofit called SDK Sports Academy. It's a quick plug, make sure to check out at sdksportsacademy.org. We're looking to provide athletic opportunities to folks in Sierra Leone, namely kids 6 to 12. But the reason I say that is because, yes, we are thinking about how we have more presence on the continent and in different locations on the continent.
Perfect. Awesome. So does any one of you consider actually moving back to Africa at some point? Does that ever cross your mind?
It's crossed my mind. Actually, I was supposed to potentially do that next year. Granted, with COVID, I don't know how how that's going to look. I have a few family members who have taken that step to go back, and I've kind of given me some knowledge on how to go about doing so. I can see myself, if not being permanently in Sierra Leone, going back and forth. Seeing how that lifestyle works for me. But yes, it's definitely something that's crossed all of our minds. I've had conversations with these fellows about how that looks like moving forward in the future. But obviously, the logistics and all that have to work out.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if Anthony is still with us, but we're getting close to wrapping up. So I will let.
Yep, I can hear you guys. I'm still here.
You can hear me. Yeah, I think I would like to ask you a question about you in the media production industry, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you work with companies in Africa? Like, do you see any areas that are lacking in that space where, creatives can fill those gaps?
So as of now, I don't have any clients that I'm working with in Africa at the moment, but I can definitely see opportunities there, to kind of outreach and make a connection between the U.S. and Africa whether it be video production or animation or things like that. I know a few of the clients that I have worked with and either other creatives that I have worked with, they also have roots in Africa, but for any clients, I haven't made that bridge yet.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I guess to wrap up, I will let each one of you maybe, say something they want to tell the audience, whether it's about Africa or whether it's about technology, whatever you want to tell the audience, about you and your business, or the advice you want to give to aspiring entrepreneurs.
I'll start. I'll just say for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially aspiring entrepreneurs, Black entrepreneurs in the Caribbean, in Africa, and here in the United States of America or North America in general, just do it. Just get started. You could sit here and wait till the next day or say I want to have everything right before we get. Just do it. Just get started, and you'll learn things along the way. Make sure obviously register your business, get a domain name. take care of all those steps. You don't want anybody trying to sell you your thing back in the future. And you'll learn things along the way. Another thing I would say is get mentorship. I think we don't do I don't want to say we don't do a good job as a culture. It's just not something that's been readily available to us. And a lot of us, we haven't been given some of this game in the sense that nobody told us to get mentored. A lot of things we don't know. I can speak for us personally. A lot of these things we didn't figure out. We're all first generation. Myself, Steve, and Anthony, Ayoub. And even I'm sure Ayoub learned things from me and having to figure out things on my own. And, my young brother was able to take that ball and carry it. There's things that, we know now that we wish we probably would have known a long time ago. So I say that to say, get a mentorship, sorry. And then, quick plug, follow us on Instagram at KWG SoftWorks, Twitter at KWG SoftWorks, LinkedIn at KWG SoftWorks. Our website is kwgsoftworks.com. Make sure to, go drop us a note on any of those platforms. Check us out.
Awesome. Ayoub, you want to go next?
Yep. So one thing that I got to say that there's so much out there for development. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. Doesn't matter if you're 10 or 40. There's so much out there available, free resources, helpful communities that can help you get started and help you grow as a developer. So if that's something that you're interested in, check out many resources on YouTube, on Reddit. There's hundreds of forums that can really help you grow as a developer.
Awesome, thank you. Anthony, you want to go next?
Yep. So I just want to harp on something that Ibraheem was saying. If you're an entrepreneur and you're thinking of kind of taking that step to go and start your own business or go on an adventure like that, it might be scary, but you just have to take that step and do it. Like Ibraheem was saying, I ended up quitting my full-time salary job to kind of go on this journey to do freelancing on my own, and I wouldn't take it back for anything. So I'm just saying, if anyone out there is interested in doing the journey, just take that step and see where it goes.
Thank you, Anthony. Steven?
Yeah, so I guess I'll close it up here, and I guess I'll talking from two different perspectives. I think when you're talking from a perspective at a personal level, again, like I said, we all have roots in Africa, and it's always great to give back to the place that you came from, or your family came from, and making sure that it's left better than you found it, more or less, right? So it's always good to always do that. Go back. If you want to start a business, do it. It's all about execution. Everybody and their mother has an idea, but it's not gonna work if you don't take the first move, right? So that's number one, making sure from kind of an emotional and a love level that you go back and help out the countries you came from. And now talk about it from an investor level, right? So from an investor level, like I said before, by 2100, 40% of the world's population is going to be in Africa. There's almost 500 million people with mobile penetration in Africa, right? So there's a lot of things that are doing well in Africa, and a lot of people are seeing it. China's seeing it, America's seeing it, and like Ibraheem alluded to earlier, we got to get our people to go ahead and see that and making sure that we're in the forefront of it. You know what I'm saying? So we're very capable, number one. Intelligence, we have equal or more than anybody in the world. And we got charisma, right? So with all those things combined, I'm very bullish, and KWG is very bullish on Africa. And we're going to continue to showcase that through development of technology, and also through talking to people like you who also see that vision and also can spread out the word out there. So again, go out there, be bold, be strong, and go for Africa.
I just want to say one thing. I want to harp on what Stephen was saying. For any young Africans, any young Black folks watching this, you are good enough. You can do it. We are smart, beautiful people. We can definitely do it. We are good enough. We are smart enough. Don't let anybody tell you that we're not good enough to really do what we need to do to be successful, however you want to go about defining that success. Don't let anybody tell you that Africa isn't a good place for opportunity. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not good enough. We are definitely good enough.
Awesome. That is very, very powerful. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure hosting you. Wish we had more time, so we can have more conversations, but I'm sure we'll get to connect again and, have discussions about different topics, talk about Africa, talk about growth, technology, um, uh, things that you're doing. Yeah, so I will wrap up and then, we can talk on the other side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thanks, guys.